Information Society. We are living in an advanced world. Technology like phones, gadgets, televisions, and other internet devices are our means of communication and gathering information. But first, let's go ahead and talk what is information. Information is a word with a combination of sound that represents something. Words are made up of sound, yet they transmit something more significant. As they transmit a message, the words were told or informed because they carry information. Let's take a look first at how transmission of information evolved from ancient times to present. Information has evolved significantly over time. In ancient times, information was primarily transmitted orally through storytelling, songs, and spoken word. Next is the invention of writing systems that allowed for the preservation and transmission of knowledge through inscriptions on stone, clay tablets, and eventually papyrus and parchment. The development of paper and printing technology during the ancient and medieval periods further revolutionized the dissemination of information, making it easier to produce and distribute written materials. In the 15th century, Johannes Gutenberg invented printing press, which has greatly accelerated the spread of knowledge by enabling the mass production of books and other printed materials. Let's take a look at how printing press started.
This is a printing press. Historians argue that a printing press is one of the most revolutionary inventions in human history. With it you could spread knowledge and ideas like never before. Something that is often overlooked is its economic impact on the world, and it also provides a great historical parallel to the emergence of the internet. It can even teach us about how future information technology innovations could impact the world. The so-called movable type printing press was not named the movable type because it was easy to move. It was actually really heavy. It got that name because this type of printing press uses movable blocks, usually with letters on them, that you could construct documents with. The movable type printing press was developed by Johannes Gutenberg and his business partners in Mainz, Germany, around 1450. Printing started off as a for-profit enterprise for them. Their printing press could have taken inspiration from earlier ones from China, but the small number of alphabetic characters needed for European languages was an important factor that made it more successful and gave it the ability to have a faster spread in European countries than it had in China with its thousands of unique characters. Having the movable blocks made of metal made them more durable, and the lettering became more uniform, which opened a door for the wonderful world of typography and fonts. The printing press may be regarded as one of the key factors fostering the Renaissance due to its effectiveness. Its use spread around the globe. But that spread didn't happen instantly. The key innovation in printing, the process of how to make the metal blocks, was kept a trade secret by Gutenberg and his business partners. The first known blueprint of how to make the movable type printing press first came out almost a century after it was first introduced. So for a long time, they were the main producers of Europe's printing presses. They had a printing press monopoly. Because they were not being produced very quickly, and they were difficult to transport, it took time for it to spread outwards. What you could see from this slow adoption of the printing press was that the cities that got the printing press saw much higher economic growth than the cities that did not. Cities that adopted the printing press lowered their cost of written material such as books, which led to some growth. Now it was not only the elite and the rich who could afford books, but so could the poor. The printing press also spawned the newspaper industry we know today, but the printing press also gave rise to a lot more growth than that. Cities that adopted the printing press also experienced what is called positive spillovers in both human capital accumulation and technological change, meaning that more people moved to the cities and technologies got more advanced in those cities. Similar spillover effects can be seen with the spread of the internet in countries today. The printing press attracted paper mills, students, translators, and schools to the cities it spread to. It also created new jobs for the people handling the printers and made it much cheaper to transmit ideas over distances. Before the industrial era, commerce and trading was a more important source of wealth and income than industrial production. This new printed media played an important role in helping traders to become better. For example, the printing presses produced a stream of math textbooks used by students preparing for careers in business. The first known of these mathematical textbooks is the Trevisa Arithmetic from 1478. This one and hundreds of similar texts helped students become better at calculating exchange rates, profit shares, and interest rates. It helped spread literacy and cutting-edge business practices such as bookkeeping. It also advanced professions such as merchants, lawyers, officials, doctors, and teachers. All of this together meant that cities with printing presses experienced a huge amount of economic growth, and it became one of the greatest revolutions in information technology. European cities became centers for ideas and business practices that drove the transition into our modern economic growth.
In more recent history, the invention of telegraphy, telephone, radio, television, and the internet has transformed the way information is transmitted. These technologies have made it possible to communicate and share information across vast distance in real time, leading to the global interconnectedness we experience today. The digital age has brought about further advancements in information transmission, with the rise of social media, instant messaging, and online platforms for sharing and accessing a vast array of information. Thus, overall, the evolution of information transmission has been marked by a progression from oral tradition to written text to mass-produced printed materials, and finally to digital communication and the internet.
The role of language. The ancient Greeks recognized the power of language in understanding the natural world and its ability to name and classify objects. They believed that words had power and that humans could communicate through words, forming communities. The power of the communicated word came from the speaker, who was the thinker and source, and the listener, who was the recipient. Thinking in terms of a common system was useful in the pursuit of knowledge, and science, derived from the Latin word scire, meaning to know, was one of the knowledge the Greeks sought to understand. The Greeks sought to understand words as more than just sounds, recognizing that meaningful messages can be created using ordinary sounds and function across space and time without reducing their meaning. They sought a unifying principle in nature, believing that something common in seemingly different things like fire or water had a unifying factor. They sought for a metaphysis, meaning, after nature, to understand the inner workings of these things, allowing them to function across time and space without reducing their meaning. Plato's principle of one and the many refers to the underlying unity among diverse beings in the natural world. For Plato, there is a common intrinsic nature shared by different objects, which determines their real sense. Biologists devised a way to illustrate this principle using a system differentiating between genus and species. Many species belong in one genus. In the 21st century, we are aware more than ever that there is rich diversity in nature, which technology has allowed us to discover. Mathematics is the language of nature. Technology in the modern world is a product of science, enabling humans to control nature through the discovery of laws and language. Isaac Newton's contribution to mathematics allows nature to be understood through its language, which the human brain can partially comprehend. However, this understanding is not always appreciated. Technological world. Science is a result of understanding and conceptualizing nature, which even in ancient times, was harnessed by Western thinkers. The first sailing vessel and the first fire engine were lost in time, but Hero of Alexandria invented a primitive steam engine in the 1st century. The World Wide Web, invented by Sir Tim Berners-Lee, was created to address data processing and information sharing needs among scientists at the European Organization for Nuclear Research, CERN. The Atom Smasher produced a large amount of scientific data every second, necessitating better data analyzers to work in coordination. This new medium allowed for the processing of vast amounts of data. The ease of sharing information on social media can compromise its reliability, leading to disinformation and the creation of like-minded communities. These communities can reinforce biases and beliefs, allowing power to control public opinion and harass opposing views. Additionally, easy access to personal information makes individuals susceptible to online predation, identity theft, and scamming. This compromise in information reliability is a significant issue in today's digital age. Thus, it pays to be vigilant in utilizing these modern devices at all times. The technology applied when a sailor rigs up a piece of cloth to catch the wind is the same one that produces modern machines and devices, albeit less complex. Nevertheless, human beings have always found a way to address their needs and discover new frontiers with scientific thinking. Considering the many benefits we get from these technologies, we must also be responsible in utilizing them to avoid harming others and ourselves.